Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, selamat pagi, magandang umaga, sawadika. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the International Webinar Series organized by CMIO Regional Center for Kitab in Mathematics, as well known as CKIM, entitled Mathematics for All, Mitigating the Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic, today, 14 December 2020. It is a great pleasure to welcome you here at Zoom platform and also YouTube live streaming. My name is Lelidian Puspita and I will be the host of today's webinar. First of all, thank you very much for all attendees for taking the time to attend this event. And it is my honor to welcome Honorable the Deputy Director for Program and Development, CMIO Secretariat, Dr. Wahyudi, Honorable Director of CMIO Regional Center for Kitab in Mathematics, Dr. Sumardiono, Honorable the Board of Directors of 6 CMIO Centers Indonesia, CMIO Biotrop, CMIO Simolek, CMIO Rekfon, CMIO Cecep, Sikila, and Sikis. Honorable the prominent speakers, Dr. Wanur Azmin binti Muhammad from CMIO Reksam Malaysia, Dr. Sri Wulandari Danubroto from the Center for Development and Empowerment of Teachers and Education Personnel in Mathematics, or P4TK Matematika Indonesia, and Dr. Sumardiono from SIKIM Indonesia. I would like also to welcome the Honorable Moderator, Mr. Wahid Yunianto from SIKIM, distinguished invited partners of SIKIM, and of course the beloved participants from the Philippines, Malaysia, Myanmar, CLC, Sekolah Indonesia Luar Negeri, and of course from Indonesia. First of all, allow me to read the agenda of today's webinar. The first is opening ceremony, which consists of hearing the national anthem of the Republic of Indonesia, continued by CMIO Color and CMIO Song, welcome remark by SIKIM Director, and the opening speech by the Deputy Director for Program and Development, CMIO Secretariat. And the next is Keynote Address 1, Keynote Address 2, Keynote Address 3, and followed by Q&A sessions will be led by the moderator. The last is the closing ceremony. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start the opening ceremony of this event by hearing the national anthem of the Republic of Indonesia, continued by CMIO Color. We kindly invite all attendees to arise. Thank you. Kindly be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, to get more understanding of CMEO, we are presenting you the CMEO song, Building the Future.
It's time to open our eyes to a bright and promising future. We'll rise to the call of the times and create a stronger tomorrow. Let's start to make a difference, teaching everyone to learn through science, health, and technology. We will share our expertise by promoting knowledge and policies. We can build a better world. Let us take a step for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean. Hear us CMEO, building the future is our legacy. We'll achieve our goals through partnership, creating opportunities. By working hand in hand, we can accomplish all our dreams. For a better quality of life is now within our reach. Let us take a step for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean. Hear us CMEO, building the future is our legacy. Let us take a step for our visions alone, making future plans for the people to grow in a life filled with happiness and clean. Hear us CMEO, building the future is our legacy. Building the future is our legacy. At CMEO,
Thank you. And now we have to move to the next agenda. For the first, I'm pleased to welcome the Director of SIKIM to deliver the welcome remark. Dr. Sumardiono, the time is yours.
Honorable Deputy Director for Program and Development of CMEO Secretariat, Dr. Wahyudi, prominent keynote speakers, Board of Directors of CMEO Centers Indonesia, of invited guests and esteemed participants. A very well good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's a great pleasure for me on behalf of the CMEO Regional Center for Kitab in Mathematics, or SIKIM, to welcome you to the international webinar series, Mathematics for All, Mitigating the Impact of Covid-19 Pandemic. Thank you for making the time to attend. In this invaluable moment, I would like to extend my deep appreciation to the distinguished keynote speakers, Dr. Wan Nur Azmin binti Muhammad Sabri from CMEO Reksam, our sister center from Malaysia, and Dr. Sri Wulandari Danubroto from the Center for Development and Empowerment of Teachers and Education Personnel in Mathematics, or P40K Mathematica. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm grateful to inform you that Sikkim has successfully conducted its first and second international webinar series in last September and November. Those events were participated by almost 2,000 participants in Southeast Asia and beyond. Therefore, the Center would like to thank the Secretariat General of the MOEC, Siamio Secretariats, Siamio Sister Centers, all of stakeholders and all mathematics teachers and educators in the Southeast Asia and beyond for the endless support. As we all know, the World Health Organization has declared coronavirus disease or COVID-19 outbreak as a public health emergency of international concern last 13 January 2020, which impact to all sectors including education. In this pandemic era, mathematics educators face challenge to maintain meaningful and joyful mathematics activities through distant learning. As an effort to address the challenge, the Center has initiated to conduct an international webinar series in mitigating the impact of COVID-19 pandemic, particularly in mathematics subject. This event is one of Sikkim commitments to enhance the quality of mathematics teachers and educational personnel in Southeast Asia and beyond. We wish this event could run in line to as of the aims could provide update information to advance educators' knowledge and ability that lead to implementing an equitable and high-quality mathematics teaching and learning during the pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, as of yesterday, more than 400 participants from Southeast Asia countries have registered for today's event. Within this one-day webinar, all participants will be joining the 3 keynote talks, which will be chaired by Mr. Wahid Yunianto, who is currently the specialist coordinator of Sikkim. And I'm also pleased to let you know that presenting Sikkim, I'll share some information related to mathematics education with you all at the first session. We wish you all a fruitful webinar and good luck. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Smardiono, for welcoming us to this webinar. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to request the honor, the Deputy Director for Program and Development, Simeo Secretariat, to deliver the opening speech and officially open the webinar. Dr. Wahyudi, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lely. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Dr. Smardiono, the Director of Keynote in Mathematics. Distinguished speakers, Dr. Uwandur Atsmin PT Muhammad Sabri from Simuriksa, Dr. Sri Wulandari Danubroto from P40K Mathematica, Yogyakarta, Office of Sikkim, and also Dr. Smardiono, our own directors of Sikkim. Dr. Niloh Mayani, Director of Sikkim, and other Board of Directors of 5 Simul Center Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, very good morning, Sawadee-krap from Simul Secretariat Bangkok. It is my pleasure to be with you again this morning in such extraordinary circumstances. As mentioned by Dr. Smardiono, the COVID-19 pandemic has created an enormous disruptions of education system in history, affecting nearly 1.6 billion learners in more than 190 countries and all continents. Based on the UN data, closure of schools and other learning spaces have impacted 94% of the world's student populations. And among this, up to 99% in low and lower middle income countries, including our regions, the Southeast Asia. The crisis intensifies pre-existing inequalities in education by reducing the opportunity for many of the most disadvantaged children, young people, and adults to pursue their schoolings, such as those living in remote or rural areas, girls, migrants, people with disabilities, and forcibly displaced people. Learning deficiencies are now threatening to spread past this century and to research decades of success. Owing to the pandemic's economic effect alone, about 23.8 million extra children and young people from pre-primary to tertiary will drop out or not have access to school next year. This is so scary indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, a few questions are still facing millions of teachers. Their question is, what will we do if the school still closed for months? How can we shift to proper online learnings? In the end, we found most of the educations has had to move to the online environments due to this pandemic. This transition has affected not only schools and their staff, but also families by encouraging mothers and fathers to become more involved in the education of their children. This transition, on the other hand, has encouraged creativity within the education sectors. We have seen creative approaches to promoting continuity of educations and trainings, from radio and TV to take-home kits and empowering social media communication tools. Solutions for distance learning have been established due to swift feedback from policymakers and stakeholders worldwide, promoting the quality of educations, including the UNESCO Global Coalitions of Educations, where CMEO, our office, and also the units, including Sikkim and other centers, as one of the members. Ladies and gentlemen, rightly so, many Ministry of Educations are still worried that relying exclusively on modern and medium high-tech technology and online strategies will imply reaching only children from better off families. In the meantime, there is no digital divide, but there is an exact digital abyss, and the rural poor are living at the bottom of it. In these uncertain environments, it is vital that learning continues even if it cannot happen in person. The appropriate strategy in most countries is to use all possible delivery modes with the infrastructures that exist today. Ladies and gentlemen, currently, the ripple of COVID-19 still carries worldwide. Somehow, it is forcing humankind to innovate and change the way we work and live. The upset of where we find ourselves right now is that individuals, corporations will be more resilient in post-COVID-19 pandemics later on. These changes have also demonstrated that the exciting future of education and the significant shift in the way quality education is delivered cannot be segregated from the requirements that no one should be left behind. As mentioned previously by Dr. Sumardiono, the Director of Sikkim's, I'm so pleased to learn about Sikkim's effort to share best practices through international webinars and provided educators several free online trainings. I do believe this international webinar is a valuable and timely virtual gathering of education experts, sharing insights, learning from each other, and adopting innovative approaches for teaching and learning to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 in education in Southeast Asia, particularly in mathematics, and also to turn still mathematics into math magic. I'm confident that this close network and partnership will only grow from strength to strength. I do hope, even though it might be in the last international webinar series this year, but next year we will have more and more from SEAGAMES. And finally, by reciting Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I would like to declare international webinar, Mathematics for All, Mitigating the Impact of COVID-19 pandemic is officially open. Thank you and enjoy our session in this webinar. Sawadee-krap. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Bapak, for your always kind support to SEAGAMES and also support to other senior centers in Southeast Asia. Ladies and gentlemen, by the official opening from Dr. Wahyudi, it marks the international webinar series and Mathematics Mitigating the Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic is officially started. Please give a round of applause. Say thank you very much for your attention and also participation during the opening ceremony, and we will proceed to the keynote address. Before we move to the keynote address, I have very good news for you. We have 3 giveaways for 3 participants. Of course, those who are joining us through Zoom and also YouTube Live has the same chance. And here is the easy step to do. The first, you have to follow our Instagram at @SimioKidapInMath, and please capturing the webinar by screenshot or recording the video of this webinar, and then upload it to your Instagram story and kindly mention us at @SimioKidapInMath. And we will announce the winner soon on SEAGAMES Instagram feed. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have to move to the keynote address, and please welcome to the keynote address. Before that, allow me to read the protocols for audiences of this webinar. Webinar is recorded. The participants other than keynote speakers are muted. Participants joining from Zoom and YouTube should fill in the attendance list through the link provided in the Zoom chat box and YouTube descriptions. At the end of this webinar, participants will fill in the evaluation form provided in the Zoom chat box and YouTube descriptions, and a certificate will be provided for eligible participants. And last, respect the speakers by listening attentively. Thank you for your attention. That's the protocol that you should be followed during the webinar. And please ensure you are joining the whole sessions to get the certificate. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please be ready for the keynote address with 3 prominent speakers, which will be chaired by the moderator. The first keynote address will be Dr. Sumardiono from SEAGAMES. The second is Dr. Sri Wulandari Danubroto from the Center for Development and Empowerment of Teachers and Education Personnel in Mathematics or P4TK Matematika Indonesia, followed by Q&A, and the last keynote address will be Dr. Wanur Azmin from Simio Rexam, Malaysia, followed by Q&A. And chairing all the sessions will be the SEAGAMES training specialist, Mr. Wahid Yunianto. Allow me to read Mr. Wahid Yunianto's short biography. Mr. Wahid Yunianto has been a training specialist at Simio Regional Center for Kitab in Mathematics since 2016. He holds his bachelor's degree from Universitas Negeri Yogyakarta in 2011 and a master's degree in mathematics education from Universitas Sriwijaya, as well as Utrecht University in 2014 and the University of College London in 2017. His expertise is in mathematics teacher competencies, assessment in mathematics education, ICT in mathematics education, and the development of interactive learning media in mathematics education. He is also a Casio researcher and team of the development of mathematics module for primary school students in the Center for Assessment and Learning or Pusat Assessment dan Pembelajaran Pusmenjar in Ministry of Education and Cultures of Indonesia. Well, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Wahid Yunianto to lead the sessions. Mr. Wahid, the time is yours.
Thank you, Ms. Lely. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. It is such an honor to be here. I'm Wahid Yunianto, will be moderating this webinar. Mathematics for All, Mitigating the Impact of COVID-19 Pandemics. Today we have three prominent keynote speakers. Before that, let me read the protocol for the webinar. First, each keynote speaker will present for 45 minutes, followed by 15-minute Q&A sessions. Second, in the Q&A sessions, those who are joining from Zooms, you may leave your questions via Q&A chat box, and the selected participant will be given a chance to directly ask one question. And for those who joins via YouTube, you may leave your questions through the link provided in the YouTube descriptions. Well, we will move to our first keynote speaker. Let me introduce you to our first keynote speaker, Dr. Sumardiono. Okay. He is also a director, the director of CMU Regional Center for Kitab in Mathematics, a regional center under the Southeast Asian Minister of Education's organization, CMU, which missions is to develop the quality mathematics teachers and education personnel in Southeast Asia. And previously, he served under P40K Matematika as teacher trainer or Widya Iswara. He holds a bachelor and master in mathematics education from 11 Maret University, and his doctoral degree is in mathematics from Gajah Mada University. Dr. Sumardiono is a frequent speaker at mathematics teacher training courses in Indonesia, and he has published several book series entitled Berhibur dengan Angka, Bilangan Lubang Hitam, Berhibur dengan Angka Bilangan Langka, and also Berhibur dengan Angka Bilangan Komunitas. Without any further ado, let me call upon our first keynote speaker, Dr. Sumardiono. The floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, for our first speakers in this webinar, I would like to present about mathematics content on schools, and based to the facts, what the impact of the pandemic era in the mathematics teaching and learning, and also my opinion about how to we simplify the mathematics schools, basically in the practice in school learning in mathematics. Let me share my presentation, please. Okay, I think my presentation could be fit by the attendants and participants.
Yes.
The title is Simplification of School Mathematics to ensure mathematics meaningful is easy and applicable. I'm not sure about the title of simplification, but this is my first thing about how we conduct the content of mathematics in the COVID-19 pandemic, based on the fact that almost there's several problems with learning and teaching in mathematics in this era. First, I want to share with you all about what happened in its education in pandemic of COVID-19. For the briefly speaking in these themes, I based on the policy brief from United Nations, education during COVID-19 and beyond. There are 4 recommendations from UN. One, suppress transmission of the virus and plans thoroughly for school reopening. 2, protect education financing and coordinate for impact. 3, build resilient education systems for equitable and sustainable development. In this regards, government could consider the following: focus on equity and inclusion. This force us to make mathematics fit for all students in the formal education, non-formal education, and also informal education. And 4, reimage education and accelerate change in teaching and learning. The following entry points could be to the fore of our efforts, focus on addressing learning loss and preventing dropouts, particularly of marginalized groups, our skills for employable programs, support the teaching profession and teachers' readiness, expand the definition of the right to education to include connectivity, remove barriers to connectivity, strengthen data and monitoring of learning, and also strengthen the articulation and flexibility across level and type of education and training. So, in these 4 recommendations from United Nations, give us the importance to maintenance education in this pandemic era to all learners, to all type of education and training. The impact based on the recommendation of United Nations, the World Bank identifies 3 possible scenarios for the loss of learning: a reduction in average learning level for all students, a widening of the distribution of learning achievement due to highly unequal effects of the crisis on various populations, or a significant increase of students with very low level of achievement, due in part to massive dropouts. From the 3 scenarios, these impacts include that 25% more students may fall below a baseline level of proficiency needed to participate effectively and productively in society. This can be seen in all countries, including countries in the Southeast Asia, that we have some months to give effort to keep the education going, but some problem about how we deliver the content of mathematics, especially in education, the mathematics education. This still remains some problem. In this slides, I would like to share with you all that not only the online learning as an alternative to keep going on learning, but also there is another type of distance learning. As you see in this table, in this diagram, I mean, there are 4 groups of distance learning in the all level of education, 4 level of education: primary, pre-primary, primary, lower secondary, and upper secondary. It seems that the 4 type of distance learning have frequency is almost same. Take home or paper-based, support to television or radio-based learning, mobile phone, and online. This is the result of the joint survey from UNESCO, UNICEF, and World Bank. But as we know that the distance learning is different from face-to-face learning. There are some problem with the distance learning. Begin with the facilities or technology to the competencies of teachers to conduct the learning material in the distance learning. This is my results of the advantage and disadvantage of online learning. Basically, online learning is not the same as the distance learning, but in these slides, I mean the online learning in the frame of distance learning. The advantage is convenient on accessibility of time and place. Based on that the use of the technology can make that the learning material can be stored effectively and efficiently. And also the online learning have efficiency in delivering learning because the technology have several tools that can be used by teachers. And affordability. The online learning or distance learning can make affordable for students that eliminates the cost. Let me say, for example, the cost of transportation, the cost of consumption, etc. And the advantage of online learning or distance learning also suits a variety of learning styles. The use of the multimedia based on the tools to make voice, animation, etc. can be fixed for all the type of learning. And also immediate response and updates. But we know there are several disadvantages of distance learning, especially in online learning. The online learning have impersonal sense that it cannot offer full human interactions, and also inability to focus and hazard on screens. We know the use of screen that have a hazard in health because of the radiation of the screen also, and there is a technology issues on that, like the capability and competency to use the technology, the wireless instruments, and also the software. Sense of isolation. This is the main problem with the online learning because of students not interact with each other. They feel alone at home, and this makes a problem for the psychology of students. A request to the responsibility and self-discipline of students. This is also a main problem with online learning. We know for arbitrary learning use Zooms or Webex. It can be that the student cannot attend the learning, follow up the learning because of any problem, any reason, but also their self-discipline to attend the learning by show their face or etc. But it can be, it can be not done, and the student may have some trick for that. This is the problem of disciplines. in the learning process in online mode. And also, I capture some mistakes or some problem on distance or online learning for several months we have done. Especially that I see much our teachers, especially in mathematics teachers, that have to effort to build, to produce some of YouTube's videos, YouTube videos to deliver the mathematics contents. But I see that it just brings the real classroom teaching into online mode. They are not adapting how to conduct the mathematics material in the YouTube or on the online modes. And also the teacher's role is prominent and the variabilism still plays a role. This is just one of a problem that I see, that the material is not adapted to the online mode. And also maths material is transferred to online media without changing anything. As you see, if we ask students, we see that the teachers teaching mathematics in the YouTubes, it's like looks we attend the classroom in the real classroom. There is at least three problems that I address from my experience in the pandemic era that have I see about mathematical content has not been adapted to the situation and needs, and also content tends to remain complex and difficult, and content is still viewed in the old way. Even the online modes have conducted by the teachers. So what's the effect? We know that parents cannot replace teachers with the old fashion of content because teacher is not the mathematics. Parents are not the mathematics teachers. They haven't much knowledge about the material of the mathematics and also how to teach the material to their kids. And also we see that the students are not enthusiastic and maybe have stress and even suicides, for the example. So and also the student is not understand the mathematics, not literate with that. What is the solution? Maybe one is reducing the homework load of from teachers and reducing the curriculum. For example, for emergency curriculum. As you know, our Minister in Education in Indonesia have prepared the curriculum, the emergency curriculum or curriculum darurat, but we have not seen this. But for another solution, I suppose in this session to simplify school mathematics in the time of pandemics and distance learning. How we simplify the content of mathematics? First, we can simplify the mathematics content. Two, we can simplify or reducing the symbolization and formalism, and also we can simplify in doing mathematics. I will discuss with you all about the three aspects in simplifying the mathematics schools. Simplify content of mathematics. We must focus on essential concepts and procedure in mathematics. So for the picture in the screen, as you see, there are several formulas in mathematics education. the mathematics formula or algebraic formulas. If he teach our students with all the formulas, it can be as career for our students, and it can be differ from the real teaching. I mean the real classroom. So we must to simplify our content of mathematics. So this is can be fits for the psychology of our student in this pandemic era. As example, I list several examples how we choose the essential instead of the not essential content, like calculate numbers till hundreds. It could be enough for our students, not to calculate numbers till million, for example. And also understanding Pythagorean theorems, for understanding Pythagorean theorems, but not to to learn the Pythagorean triple as listed in the tables, and also identify how to determine volume of solids by using formulas or not formulas, by using doings, mathematics, etc. Instead of using the several formula to calculate volumes of the solids. And also we can focus on mathematical problem solving rather than to give our student more tricks to solve maths problem. And also we can simplify our content of mathematics by use the simple context. I mean that we can use the context that matching to the situation that our student, our kids at home, for example. In this table, I give our example measuring angle on table or floor at home, rather than measuring angle to predict the height of plants, for example. Predicting amount of people in market rather than to predicting amount of virus, determining maximum capacity of a box to compare the determining volume of box using formulas. I think it's not so essential for our curriculum now in pandemic era. And also problem solving in daily maths problem. Rather than to give the problem to solve from scientific context. The picture I give the illustration that student can solve any problem in the rooms, for example, and from there's games tools at homes. And also we can use the beneficial and natural context. For example, we can use the term of the concept of Fibonacci and also golden fraction in nature, rather than we introduce more about the algebraic sequences like square, cubic, also quartic sequences. We can also capturing daily life context around students. But in my opinion, bringing that to a story problem, as I see, maybe a few of our teachers with a story problem based on their knowledge about the mathematics. It can be give student the artificial story problem. It's not the real story problem, but by capturing the daily life context, give our student more realistic problem to solve. We can give our students suitable problem posing. I think in this pandemic era on the online modes, students have more freely to give a problem based on their experience rather than to solve the problems given by teachers. And also, local context problem is more useful for our student rather than general context problem. Okay, this is how we can use the daily life material can be bring to the mathematics teaching or learning. Like for example, in this context, the concept of sequences. This is about what we call the Fibonacci sequences. In our curriculum, it's not it's not explicitly that our curriculum give the competencies in mathematics education related to the Fibonacci sequences, but there is some challenge, I mean, to give our students to know about the sequence, the material that have potential for our student in the daily life context. For example, this is a broccoli. Yeah? Broccoli. This is a broccoli. The students can explore about how many paths, how many paths that have certain direction. I mean, certain direction like a diagonal direction that we can count. For example, start from here. 1, 2, 3. But this is the previous path. So for the direction like this diagonal, they have 3 paths. And also for the another direction, we can ask for to student to count how many paths there are. And also in the fruits, in the flowers, and the natural trees around home can use to introduce the concept of sequences in nature for students. I think this is quite more enjoyable for our students to learn mathematics based on the activity in natural science. Yeah. This is, for example, that the sequence have 2, 3, 5, and also 3, 5, and 8 in the three number in the Fibonacci sequence. In the online modes, we can use the animation to give more insight for our students how the golden ratio or the Fibonacci sequence can fit in our natural when our nature in the fruits, flowers, etc. That the concept of mathematics in this nature teach us that they have a chance to growth for maximum growth. There's no empty place that have not growth by the by the trees, leaf, I mean, and also the flowers. The second, how do we simplify our content of mathematics is reducing symbolism and formalism. As we know, there are several types of representation of mathematics, from the concrete objects, pictorial, verbal, to algebraic symbols. So we see that the abstraction from low, the concrete object, to high abstraction to algebraic symbols. So we can choose the symbolism or formalism in mathematics content more low of abstraction in this learning in the pandemic era. because of if we as we usually give our student our mathematics content in the algebraic symbols, it's not good for our student to think hardly. So give you a table of example how, for example, to shifting the rigid formalism to more intuitively, so the student can understand more easily about the concept of mathematics, even not for the formalism, because we want the student to just understand the concept of mathematics and can be applied this for the daily life situation. One for congruent shapes for the example that in the rigid formalism we define congruence using similarity, but we can replace that to define congruency as a copy. We introduce congruency before similarity, and also for another example, we shift from the rigid formalism to more intuitively, like area of ellipse. That usually we use the integral tools to prove that the area of ellipse is multiplication of pi and the minor and also the major axis of the ellipse. By using equity of volume of two solids and also the concept of similarity. This is the simple approach to give our student the understanding about how the formula of area of ellipse can be proved. And also volume of sphere, for example, we can use the manipulatives, we can use the animation, yeah, rather than we give the proof basically based on the algebraic approach. System of linear equation, for another example, that usually we give the algebraic symbols and procedures like substitution methods and also matrix methods. We can use, for example, using pictorial approach and also real context to give student insights to think how to solve the problem of system of linear equation and understand that. This is that I'll illustrate what I have said before about the proof of ellipse in the high school mathematics. Yeah, for example, this is used about the concept of integral. Yeah, maybe it can be confusing for all of us how to prove of that. But if you use the previous knowledge about cylinders, the volume of cylinders, and also the concept of similar and in the geometric shapes, we can prove the hard problem of proving the area of ellipse in the easy mode. Yeah, this is another type of the intuitively proof, what we call that the proof without words. Yeah. Also, yeah, for the linear equation system, we can introduce our students with the pictorial problems that is can be more interested for our students to solve the problems. Yeah. And another type of to reducing symbolism and abstraction is representing a formula or a procedure with example. So we can use a formula inductively to gain the understanding of our student. For example, how we can teach our student about the divisibility by 7, for example. We can give our student example, and our student can learn the concept behind the procedures. This is for the psychology context can be much more remembered by student rather than using a symbolic algebraic symbolism. And also,
sorry, Dr. Sumardiono, you have 5 more minutes left.
Oh, okay. Representing a formula or procedure with example. Yeah, for example, this is the concept of arithmetics series. Yeah, arithmetic series. Maybe for our student know it as the method from Gauss. And also representing a proof with example. Yeah, the proof. What I said before, the proof without words. And also making a formula, be doing formula. For example, the formula of a quadratic equations solution. We can bring out the formula to several steps that can be understood by our students. And also making algorithm be understandable. Yeah, it can be mean that don't too fast introduce our algorithm, mathematical algorithm for our students. And the third and the final is simplifying doing mathematics. In my opinion, all the competencies of learning mathematics can be put in the 3 competencies, or proficiency in mathematics learning. First, pattern recognition, and logical reasoning, and then creative problem solving. For the 3 types of doing mathematics that I suppose in this webinar, it can be used not only the context of mathematics we can use with or without formula or mathematical symbol, and can use that with or without mathematical context. For example, if our student we ask for to arrange some objects, makes it to be like a pattern that he learned. We teach our student about the pattern and also pattern recognition from the problem we can give for our students. And also for the problems from various approaches like STEM, yeah, adapting mathematics and literacy, and I said before for daily tasks and beneficial project can be support for the understandable learning material for our students. And also puzzle and games. Yeah, any puzzle and any games that contains the mathematical proficiency to, for example, how to think logically, how to think analytically, and how to think creatively. And for the last slides, I will to share with you all the resources of mathematical contents that have been referred by the OECD, the institution that conduct the PISA assessment. There are more than 100 resources that can be used to see how to mathematics content can deliver for our students. Okay, in the remote area, the online type of learning, online learning in the pandemic era. Yeah, for example, you can use some materials, some content of mathematics from eCourse 193 ORG, and etc. Okay, thank you very much. This is my final presentation of this webinar, and back to our moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sumardiono, for wonderful sharing presentations. And let me remind you again to our dear audiences, you may write down your questions on the Q&A chat box and also on the YouTube inbox chat. And Well, we have some questions here, Dr. Sumardiono. I would like to show you some of the questions and read it for you. Okay. Yes, here we have the first questions coming from Zoom's Q&A chat box. He is Mr. Abdul Rozak from Indonesia, a teacher, a mathematics teacher from SMN 1 Kangen Sumeneb. And his question is, I want to ask something that I want to know how to teach mathematics effectively in the era of corona pandemics. If I simplify from calculus chapters like limit of trigonometry forms, the content learning of grade 12 in senior high school, so it will give some effect in the future, for instance, in university level. As we know that calculus in senior high school is the basic concept that must be acquired by the student before studying at the university level. And I want to inform something that some students, in fact, also help their parents to work while others do not have enough access to take part in the mathematics lessons. Thank you for the answer. Please, Dr. Sumardiono.
Okay, thank you very much for the question from Abdul Razak, Pak Abdul Razak. Thank you very much, Pak. Okay, this is actually the effect from the sequential of mathematics contents from the grade level to the higher level, from the type of education from lower to higher. But in my opinion, for our students in schools, in primary school or pre-primary school to level high school, they want to learn the mathematics, not being a mathematician in the future. They learn mathematics to understand what the kind of beneficial of mathematics to our society, to our daily life activity. So in these frames, based on the simplify our formalism, our tight rigid symbolism of mathematics cannot be impacts more to understandable of the mathematics and capacities more more universal, like thinking creatively and critically. But for the preparation of our students to take part in the university level, especially in the mathematics programs, pure or not pure applied or education, I think students must have a chance and opportunity to review their understanding and learn more the mathematics contents in the formalism fashion from others resources, other resources. I think students can be prepared themselves how the knowledge of mathematics they must be understand as the basics knowledge to learn mathematics in high level in the university. So in my opinion, this is the two goals of education, the two type goals of education. First, in the schools, mathematics, we ask for our students to get the competency or capability to use mathematics to solve the problems, to give some insights about the beneficial of mathematics. In the another sides, mathematics as a as goals of learning mathematics as a subject matter that can be learned from our student as a mathematician, something like that. So I think if we choose the material for the essentials modes, I think not so many problems for our students, because they just to transfer their knowledge of concept and procedure of mathematics in the by using the context, the daily context, or the symbolic and not symbolic context to the symbolic context. Just to adapting the fashion of the mathematical context. I think this is my answer for the question. Of course, there is a problem with the gap, the gap of formalism from our students have learned in the school to the university. Of course, so they must prepare more about the formalism. But not all of our students take part the mathematics program in the university. They maybe take part another aspect of knowledge, something, science or maybe social studies, but they have not to be a mathematician or know more full about the symbolism in mathematics formal to learn in the others program of mathematics. Maybe just my answer.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Smardiono. I hope it helps you, Mr. Rozax. And I would like to invite the audiences who would like to ask the questions directly live here. I would like to call you. Please raise your hand if you are confident enough to convey your questions live here. Okay, Mr. Hisham Hidayatullah from SMAN 8 Batam, would you like to ask directly to Dr. Sumaryono? Yes.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Sumaryono.
Good morning. Good morning.
I want to ask two questions. You said that you simplify symbol and formula for the to make teaching and learning. What's your opinion if I provide short formula? This is number one. Number two, as we know that we have a problem to adapt situation and condition in COVID-19, do you have trick to make some material or maybe all material in the senior high school, especially because there is not some abstract material, I think. Thank you.
So please answer it, Dr. Sumaryono.
Okay. For the first question, I guess that the short formula is the trick. The trick method that usually used for answer the mathematical problems efficiently and maybe directly, but not all the short formula or the short tricks can gain the understanding of concept behind the formula. So we as a teacher must be sure to take attention with the short formula. Is this short formula have some insights for our student to understand the concepts? If the formula just to make some mechanism to answer our mathematical problem directly, but not can be understandable by our student, it can be worse. So in the term of simplify, I mean to simplify the the level of representation of mathematics and the level to understand the concept in our formula, in mathematical formula and mathematical procedures. And in my opinion, this is not, I say that the short formula is not good in mathematics because of sometimes the mathematics in the formal fashion is more complicated. But if you have some tricks or some sorts to give a shortest path to understanding the formula or the procedure, it can be useful for our students. So the point is, if you use the short formula, please the understanding of the concept behind the formula can be still reached by our students. And for the second question is about adopting content mathematics in senior high school, that more abstract, compared from the primary school, for example. Yes, of course, there is a sequence of abstraction that I have said before in my slides. So in this fashion, we cannot break out the symbolism or algebraic symbolism in high school mathematics content to the fashion of more inductive, but the inductive methods can be used to give our student challenge to understand by themselves. If they understand the concept of the procedure, then we can introduce the symbolism of material concept of procedure in mathematics in the high level, especially in the high school mathematics. Maybe that's my answer.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sumardiono. I hope it helps answer your questions, Mr. Hisham. And we have one more question, Dr. Sumardiono, and it is a very interesting one. Okay. And I would like to share my screen so that the other could read it as well. Okay, a question from Miss Eliani, a math teacher in SMKN 1 Sapuran Wonosobo. I have a question for Dr. Sumardiono. How can we integrate math lessons with the life skill learning during the pandemic? Thank you. So it's about life skills, Dr. Sumardiono.
Okay. Thank you very much. Very good questions. In the last screen of my presentation, I give some idea how the proficiency of mathematics can be reached in the pandemic era based on the universal competencies like pattern recognitions, thinking logically, reasoning, and also problem solving creatively. In this sense of competencies, I mean, I see that is can be reached the life skill in the learning in the pandemic era. In my opinion, life skill is how we have knowledge and also skills that can be applied in the several situations, not only in the mathematics problem, but also in not mathematics problem. So to think logically, to think creatively, give arguments, and also reasoning, how the student can identify the relevance and not relevance objects in this problem, how they can identify the patterns of the problems, and also can be solving the problems creatively it's more fit for the life skill in this pandemic era. Rather than we give them several of the formula in mathematics, even for the formula from the Pythagorean theorems, if we teach students not in real life context, maybe they ambiguous to use the Pythagorean theorem or the formula from this theorem to solve or to give to find the problems in the daily life context that fits with the theorems of Pythagorean. But if we give the material early fits or in the daily context, we give them insights to have life skill that I have mentioned before. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sumaryono. And those three questions are wonderful. So I hope what he has shared with us could benefit us all. And before I end our first keynote speaker sessions, I would give some summary of Dr. Sumaryono presentations. Besides the recommendations and advice from the United Nations about the reductions or simplifications of the curriculums, simplifications of school mathematics is also suggested or necessary, and making more relatable to daily life and more locally contextual is also important. So that's the end of the first keynote speaker. Thank you, Dr. Sumaryono, once again. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, I think our second keynote speaker is already joining our Zoom meeting right now. We have our second keynote speaker from our host office institutions from P40K Matematika. Could you share us the curriculum vitae? Okay, so she is Dr. Sri Wulandari Danubroto Widya Iswara from P40K Matematika, or Center for Development and Empowerment of Educators and Education Personnel in Mathematics under the Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia. Last Education is a doctoral programs in education science, concentrating on mathematics education at Yogyakarta State University. She has interest in ethnomathematics, realistic mathematics education, STEAM, and computational thinking and mathematics. She has published the result of her research in Southeast Asian Mathematics Journal in 2017 and Journal of Physics Conference Series in 2020. She has also gives some speech at international seminar on mathematics teaching and learning in 2019 and becomes paper presenter at 6th International Conference on Mathematics, Science, and Education in 2019. And also presented in joint international conference on STEM education just last November in 2020. So are you ready, Dr. Sri Wulandari Danubroto?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay.
Can you hear my voice?
Yes, clearly. So before, without any further ado, the time is yours, Dr. Sri Wulandari Danubroto.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me share screen first.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Pak Wahid, for introducing me. Okay, good day, everyone. For this session, I will talk about Ajar Math, exploring mathematics in everyday life for learning. I hope it will connect it with the previous talking by Dr. Sumaryono. For this topic, I will break it down into 4 parts. First, I will talk about what is Ajar Math, and then the underlying concept of Ajar Math, and I will give you some example of activities by using Ajar Math, and finally, I will discuss about how to explore mathematics in everyday life for learning. Ajarmat stands for Ayo Belajar Matematika, or Let's Learn Mathematics. It's a movement to encourage parents or guardians to develop a positive environment to assist children in learning mathematics using creative, innovative, inspiring, and fun approach. The targets of Ajarmat movement. First, we want to reduce or eliminate negative attitude towards mathematics. For example, the opinion that mathematics is not fun, that mathematics is difficult, mathematics is scary. And then we want to opening up new perceptions about mathematics. That mathematics is not about how to calculate, it's not about the formula, but mathematics is also about recognizing pattern, and the most important is mathematics is applicable in our daily activity. Next, we want to explore the needs of parents or parents' problems in assisting children to learn mathematics. And finally, we want to exploring ideas and practices to assist children in learning mathematics with their parents. To achieve that goals, we have already made 2 booklets about Ajarmat movement. And the first series entitled Mathematics is Not Difficult. On this book, we discuss about mathematics from a humanist perspective. We also give some example that mathematics is around us, and mathematics is very applicable in our daily life. In this book, it contains that material of mathematics is not so formal, but we give the explanation that understandable for parents. And the second series, entitled Assisting Children in Early Grades of Elementary School to Learn Mathematics. On this book, we share the information to the parents, what kind of mathematics learning in elementary school that parents should know. And we also give some examples, what kind of activities that parents can do with their children. Meanwhile, they can learn also mathematics. So from these 2 books, we want to share inspiration for all of parents, especially in Indonesia. The implementation of Ajarmat movement, we invite parents to school, or we visit to a community event to socialize Ajarmat movement. There, we want to inspiring parents to guide children how to learn mathematics through joint activities. This is the dissemination of Ajarmat in 2019. With the parents, we share inspiration that they can teach their children about geometrical shapes by using batik. They also can learn about how to define about fractional concept or concept of fraction by using cutting of cake. They also can learn how to collecting data and statistics by involving their family members. The underlying concept of Ajarmat, those are 3 Pusat Pendidikan by Ki Hajar Dewantoro. He is our father of education. And then the philosophy of mathematics as a human activity by Frudenthal. And the last one about parental roles in students' learning of mathematics. We will discuss it one by one. First, about 3 Pusat Pendidikan. According to Ki Hajar Dewantoro, there are 3 elements of education, namely family, school, and community. Each element has its own characteristic. Family as the center of characteristic of character education, and then school as the center of science and skill education, and finally at the community as the center of application of character and personality of the student. Those 3 elements are interrelated and work together. In relation with mathematics education, at family, students can learn about mathematics in everyday life. So this is informal knowledge. Then at school, they can learn about school mathematics in the form of formal knowledge. And then at the community, children can practice or develop their mathematics application skill at the workplace. Just like the triple sat pendidikan before, these three elements also interrelated and have to work together. The second underlying concept of Ajarmat is mathematics as a human activity. It means that mathematics is not only about product, but also about process. It is process in solving problems, especially we want to show the problems in our daily activity. For example, there is a problem solving in harvesting rice or rice harvesting. There is mathematics in building a house and its equipment. And there is mathematics in trading activity and others. Mathematics in our daily activities can be found in playing activities, explaining, counting, measuring, designing, and localizing. And then how parental roles in student learning of mathematics. I refer to the research of Jean Fatai, Moyer, and Ning Wang on 1999 that parents can be taken apart as 5 roles. Those are as motivator, that parents can be able to provide emotional support, such as that they can encourage their child how to get hard work in mathematics to be successful. And then parents can be resource provider. They can provide a place to study, books, mathematics teaching aid, games, puzzle, and so on. Parents also can be the monitor of the child. They can monitoring the learning process and progress at home. For example, they can check whether the child already done their homework or not, or have you studied today, and so on. The 2 others may be more difficult than the 3 other one. The teacher must, the parents must have to be able to teach mathematics, because parents also can be the mathematics content advisor. And the last one, mathematics learning counselor. It means that parents must understand what their children's difficulties in mathematics. They also have to know children's potential, their need, and their learning abilities, so they are able to help children to overcome their difficulty. So, Ajarmat movement doesn't force parents to be able to take part the difficult one. Next, I will show you some example of Ajarmat activity. First, mathematics in cooking activity. Yes, we know that that cooking is activity usually parents do at home. So we want to inspire the parents that there are mathematics in cooking activity. First, we can find mathematics in cooking recipe. Start from this recipe, we can see it. For example, there are preparation time 25 minutes, cook time 10 minutes, so total time 35 minutes. In Ajarmat activity, we want parents and children make some conversation or discussion. So when we choose recipe, parents and their children can discuss about how long does it take to cook. If I start to cook at 9 o'clock, so I will finish at what time? Something like that. Or whether this recipe is enough for the whole family. You can see that this recipe is enough for how many people and so on. Or another problems that we can discuss between parents and children. If I want to make only a half of this recipe, so how much sugar do I need? Yeah. So there are 1/3 cup granulated sugar for one recipe. If I want to make only half the recipe, so half from 1/3. So how much is it? After that, parents and children or parents can go shopping. Yeah. The next activity is fun, of course. There are a lot of math activity inside shopping activity. For example, measuring weight, or maybe we can practice how to calculate the price. After we find receipt and then go shopping, then we cooking together between parents and children. Finally, after the cook was ready, we want to share it to our whole family, our member, yeah, in our family. Parents and children can discuss again about, for example, for the first picture, how to cut the cake to get 25 pieces or 20 pieces, for example. What is your strategy? So you can get the pieces is same size for every member of our family. For the second picture, maybe parents and children can discuss about the fractional value of the piece of cake. What is the fractional value of this big piece of cake? And then the last one, we can talk about its shape. What shape do this piece of cake look like? Yeah. So in cooking activity, from let's find the seed, children can understand about number, about measure. Then from shopping activity, they can practice their counting skill and measure. And finally, they can practice about share, understand how to divide, understand about fraction, and understand about shape. Second example of activity is filling the floors. When installing floors, you need to consider the size of the room and also the budget. There are several choices of size and prices. Parents and children can discuss about various options for installing their room. For example, if I want to use the size of the tile is 20 times 20, so how many floors are needed for our room? Or if I want to the tiling floor by its size 40 times 40, how many floors are needed? Then we calculate it to know how much it costs. Is it enough in our budget right now? After selecting the floor, then installing the floor. Parents and children can discuss about floor mounting style. How many triangles are needed if we choose the first tile? We see that there are several triangles in the side of the room or the corner of the room. Then we can also discuss with the children whether the floor we have is enough if we want to choose the other style. So from this discussion and conversation between parents and children, children are invited to practice making decisions. But those decisions is based on mathematics argumentation. That's the most important, yeah. Now I will show you good parenting practices in Ajarmat activity.
Ajarmat membuat saya menjadi lebih percaya diri ketika mendampingi kita untuk belajar untuk mengenal semua materi-materi matematika yang berhubungan dengan perasaan juga seperti sisanya ini ada
Okay, let's talk first. At the first, that is Miss, I forgot her name, and her daughter, yeah. She said that she feels confident after following Ajarmat movement, and then she practiced how to assist her daughter to learn mathematics by using object at home. At the first time, she showed milk cans, yeah, and then they are talking about the instrument of making pudding.
Sorry to interrupt, Dr. Roland. The sound is in trouble at the moment. I mean, could you adjust something at your laptops? Share your sounds on the Zooms, because it was not clear and some bees are heard. Okay, if you done, please continue. Please click the three dots on the right upper corner and choose share sounds so that your voice will be clearly heard.
I cannot find it. I'm sorry, I cannot find it. 3.3 dan atas.
Our technicians will be coming, but at the moment you may continue.
Okay, I try. Now, is it clear enough, my voice?
Di sini aja.
Yes, it's okay now. Thank you.
Di luar mungkin tidak terganggu. Cuma kita aja yang terganggu. Oke.
I'm sorry, Dr. Wulan, we still cannot hear your voice.
Mana dua? Coba tunjukkan.
Okay.
Satu.
I'm sorry, Pak Wahid, now is it clear enough, my voice?
Yes, now is better, much better. Thank you.
Okay, but I cannot hear much better than before because I
Yeah,
don't use
it's
headset
okay.
anymore.
Sorry for the inconveniences.
Okay, me too. I'm sorry. Okay, shall we continue?
Yes, please.
The first one. She is our follower of Ajarmat movement. She said that she feel more confidence after follow the Ajarmat movement to teach her daughter learn mathematics. She used mechanics and then discuss with her daughter about measurement of making pudding. After that, they talk about the elements of cuboid. Now we will proceed with the next video.
Wah, pintar anaknya ya. Nah, terus itu habis kura-kura itu ada apa itu? Burung hantu ya kayaknya. Burung hantu ada berapa, Nak? 2. Coba dihitung ya, mau tahu?
Okay, this is toddler. Learn how to count some object by using her toys. Her father asks about how many turtles are there. And then she can answer it, it is 2 by pointing out. And then he asks again how many owls are there. And she answered the right answer. Next, I will show you another good parenting practice in Ajarmat movement.
Dia punya biji-bijian Molen. Ini kacang sama jagung. Mau ambil dong. Kamu buat apa? Hah? Buat kalung? Apa itu? Jagung sama kacang? Kamu buat kalung buat adikmu? Ini bisa buat belajar matematika loh. Kamu tadi kacangnya berapa? Kacangnya berapa tadi? Kacangnya
Bisa kita bersuara masuk.
kacangnya 16. Terus jagungnya berapa? Kalau 18 tambah 16 berapa? 24. Kamu hitung itu sama enggak sebenarnya? Sama ya?
Okay, from this activity, mother and her son making necklace by using corn kernels and beans. And then she asked him, did you make this necklace for your sister? How many kernels that you make for this necklace? And he answered 18. After that, how many beans are there? He answered 16. And then his mother asked him, what is 16 plus 18? And he gives the answer is 34. After that, his mother want him to check again by counting on the seed of the necklace. So everyone, this activity on this video show us what kind of parents can be done at home. Meanwhile, they're doing their daily activity, and they also can assist their children to learn mathematics. I think I can finish it more faster than the schedule, yeah. Okay, the last one, I will discuss about how to exploring mathematics in everyday life for learning. Especially in this pandemic era, we face several problems. For example, that students must learn at home or study from home, and they cannot good interaction between teacher and also their own friends because of this situation. So maybe this can be one alternative solution how to explore mathematics in everyday life for learning. And in this condition, parents and teacher must have good cooperation. There are at least 4 steps in exploring mathematics in our daily activity. At first, designing activity scenarios, and then assisting children at home. The third, filling students' worksheet, and finally, enforcement. Designing activity scenario made by the teacher. So the teacher design what kind of mathematical activities that can involve parents according to parents' abilities. This is important why teacher must design activity scenario, because we want to reach our competency standard that student must have it. Yeah. Meanwhile, if we just give it those responsible to the parents, they can do everything they know, but they don't have responsible to reach the competence, the basic competence of the curriculum. After that, assisting children at home, parents do mathematical activity with children at home. And the third part, students filling the worksheet for deepen their understanding and mathematics skill. And finally, teacher provides feedback if there are misconception, miscalculation, etc. This is the example of activity scenario from teacher. The teacher gives some instruction or step-by-step activity that the children must do at home by assisted from their parents. And the teacher also prepare worksheet for students. Now the connection between this activity, at first, there are cooperation between teacher, parents, and also, of course, the children or students. Teacher designing scenario of activity, and then parents and children assisting mathematic or practicing, practicing mathematic activity at home, and then students filling student worksheet, and finally teacher gives some enforcement. The relation between the first step to the second step, it is exploring mathematics in daily activity. Teacher must understand the socio-cultural environment of their students, so the teacher can design the right activity that meaningful enough for the students, and it is not difficult enough to assisting by the parents. From the second step to the third step, it is bridging informal to formal mathematics. Teacher make a guiding by this worksheet so student can understand the mathematical content inside those activity, more deepened and more formal. And finally, the formal mathematics, of course, given by the teacher. And that happened in the enforcement phase. Okay, I think those are my presentation. I hope it's useful for you everyone, and sorry for something happened, technical situation. I give you back to Pak Wahid. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Wulan, for fruitful presentations. And I would like to invite some audiences who would like to ask questions related to the second keynote speaker. So we have some questions. Actually, Dr. Wulan, I may share my screen to read the questions for you. Okay, we have one audiences from, I'm not sure if he is in Saudi Arabia right now or in Indonesia right now, but actually he is teaching in Sekolah Indonesia Luar Negeri. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Aris Prianto, my teacher in SELN Mekah, Saudi Arabia. I have a questions for you, Dr. Wulan. Does homework have negative impact for the children, and how to improve parental involvement to their homework? So please, Dr. Wulan.
Okay. Does homework have negative impact for the children? And then, excuse me, can you repeat again?
Yes, how to improve parental involvement to their homework. Actually, you may read the questions on the share screen. Have I shared my screen?
Yes,
Okay.
of course. I already.
Okay, wait. I would like to share my screen first, and then I will read it for you. Yes. Can you read the screen that I have shared?
Okay, yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. It is interesting question from Pak Aris Prianto, mathematics teacher in Saudi Arabia. The first is about homework. Does homework have negative impact for the children? So my opinion depends on your homework. Yeah, what kind of homework that you give to your children. Sometimes we give homeworks, for example, so many questions out there, 20, 30, 40 about mathematics, but it's not not have a good quality, good, what is it? Yeah, good question to enforce the student to better learning. Yeah, only to practice their skill. So the homework also can give negative impact. But if you give the homework that have a good question for student, for example, they can learn how to critical thinking, they can be more creative, or they can make some project so they can see the applicable of mathematics side, yeah, the side of the other side of mathematics. So it won't be that worst, yeah. And for the second question about how to improve parental involvement in student homework, so we must first we have to make good communication between teacher and parents. The communication to make sure that parents understand their role at house, yeah, at home, that they have to assisting their children to finish their homework. For example, I gave you before that there are 5 parental roles in students learning mathematics. Parents do not have to teach their children how to answer the question, especially in mathematics problem. But parents can be also be the monitoring, the monitor, the motivator, or the resources provider. So from this communication, teacher can understand what is the parents' difficulties in assisting their children learn at home, and then they can discuss about what kind of homework that can encourage the student to learn more better, but in the good assisting by their parents. That's my answer, Pak Wahid.
Thank you, Dr. Wulan. I hope it answered your questions. And I would like to invite audiences who like to ask directly live here, so Dr. Wulan can answer you more in a better way. Maybe if you can directly ask the questions. But we have questions from YouTube, Dr. Wulan. So I would like to read the questions for you. Okay, so this is the questions from YouTube, from the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken. So my questions is for complex concept in mathematics. How could parents simplify those concepts and apply into practice into more understandable way, especially for children?
Okay. the question is not about how could parents simplify. Of course, the teacher must do that, yeah, because the one who knows and have expertise in mathematics is the teacher, of course. So the teachers must understand the basic concept, the essential materials, so they can inform that to the parents, and then sharing ideas how to assisting the children to learn about that concept from a daily activity. And not part of the parents to make it more mathematical form or in the form fashion, in the formal fashion, like Dr. Sumardiana said before, but it is the teacher's part, yeah, the teacher's part to make it more formal fashion. So parents only guiding in the first step, yeah, in the first step about the simple concept and show what is its application in our daily activity. And the next step into the formal mathematics is the teacher job, yeah, I think like that. Okay, I hope.
Well, yes. Thank you, Dr. Wulan. Yeah, this is the teacher's jobs actually to simplify the
Yes.
structure or the concept for the students. And we have actually audience. The audience would like to ask directly to you, Dr. Wulan. So, Miss Irma, are you with us now? Hello, Miss Irma. Hello, Miss Irma. Hello, Miss Irma. Can you hear me? Are you there? Miss Irma, I know you raised hands, so I hope that you okay. Is she with us now?
Not yet.
Oh, respond. Ganti.
Okay, so I would like to invite other audiences who would like to ask directly to Dr. Wuland. So maybe we have Mr. Ngakan from Bali. Mr. Ngakan, are you with us? Halo, Mr. Ngakan. Halo. Hello. Okay. I'll invite other participants. Okay. Mr. Ngakan.
Hello,
Yes.
I'm Tengakan from Bali.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you for the chance for me. I'm very interesting to ajar math that sent by Dr. Wulandari Danubroto. I'm Ngakan Putu Suarjana, a primary school superintendent in Karangasem, Bali Province. So I want to ask Dr. Wulan, how can I learn more about ajar math? And if my school want to implement the ajar math, how would they do to make the ajar math implement in my school? Thank you. Only 2 questions from me.
Okay, I directly answer those questions, Pak Wahid.
Yes, please. You may directly answer the questions.
Okay. Hello, Pak Ngakan Putu Suarjana. I think we already have met before. You still remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, we already met at P4TK Matematika.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
you
you.
for asking the question that you're interesting with the ajar math activity. We have our cadre, teacher to follow the ajar math activity, ajar math movement at Bali. So I will give you their contacts after this, and then you can follow our website on P4TK Matematika. There are websites to talk about ajar math, so you can follow over there. And the booklets I will give you free on soft
thank
file.
you.
It's okay. And the most important that we want to share more inspiration to our teacher in Indonesia, especially. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you, Mr. Wahid.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Wulan, for the answer, and thank you very much to Mr. Ngakan from Bali. Ladies and gentlemen, and our dear audiences, I think we have to move to the next keynote speakers. I think Dr. Wan is already with us in our Zoom meeting right now. Dr. Wan, are you with us now?
Yes,
Okay,
you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So before that, I would like to thanks Dr. Wulan again for wonderful sessions about Ajarmat with the core component about schools, parents, and community, and want to erase the negative perceptions about mathematics. So let's just move to the next keynote speakers. I would like to introduce you to Dr. Wan Nur Azmin binti Moh Sabri. She is now the Deputy Director Training and Program Divisions from Sam Malaysia. And about her education backgrounds, she received a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from University Science Malaysia, and received Masters in Management from University of Malaya, and she received her PhD in Instructional Leaderships from University of Malaya. And about working experience, she has been 29 years in the teaching professions as mathematics educator, 16 years in secondary school, 13 years in Institute Teacher Training Malaysia, and currently the Deputy Director Training Program Divisions. And her expertise are on the mathematics educations, multi-grade classroom teaching and learning, mathematical reasonings, instructional leaderships, and qualitative research. Without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Wan Nur Azmin binti Moh Sabri. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Pak Wahid Yonanto of Sikkim.
Yes, Ibu, please.
All right, okay. His Excellency, Secretary General of MOE and Cultural Republic of Indonesia, Prof. Ainun Naim, Honorable Deputy Director for Program and Development of SIMU Secretariat, Dr. Wahyudi, Honorable Director of Sikkim, Dr. Sumar Diono, fellow speakers, distinguished guests, and all the participants for today's webinar. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Here we are already afternoon, very good afternoon to all Malaysian participants. I guess there are participants from Malaysia too. Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay. I think everybody now is having a frustrating moment because we have to face the new norm because of COVID-19 pandemic. And it also has been affecting the entire school system. We have to go online. So let's see what are the impact for COVID-19. This is only part of the COVID-19 that has affecting the school system. Okay, the first one is the face-to-face classroom activities. We are not permitted to do that anymore. It's sad. And also we are not permitted to do courses, face-to-face courses. We are now going on the online courses. We're going on the workshops, online workshops, seminars and conferences. And also there are declining in the academic performance, especially in mathematics for now. Okay. And also the pandemic have also interrupted our conventional schooling all over the world. We do realize that the students from privileged background, they have the opportunity to learn because they can get so many facilities and supported from their parents. But what about those from underprivileged background? So here, we want everybody to do mathematics, to learn mathematics. That is why the mathematics for all come here. So before we go further, I think let's ponder a little bit. Do we want our children to do well in mathematics? And I'm sure the answer is yes, to everybody, to teachers, to parents, isn't it? But how? How are we to do that? How are we to make sure that our students, our children, in fact, can do well in mathematics? So let us all look at this one. Enjoy the subject. When I say enjoy the subject, my children laugh. They laugh at me when this comes out. Enjoy the subject. So how to enjoy the subject? Make our students or children see that mathematics is a fascinating subject. Can we do that? Can teachers do that? Of course, we are the expertise, so we can make our students see that mathematics is very, very enjoyable to learn. Okay, next, the way it relates to our daily life. Okay, and then see around all on us. Make our students, our children observe what are things that have around them. Wonder and curious about it. We also know that every corner of our we can see all our mathematics. Yeah, okay, this one, as I said just now, we can use everywhere. And then we can also make our students play with words such as shapes, straight lines, angles, times, weight, fraction. So, but for enjoy the subject. So we must make sure that our students enjoy the subject. We have to make them ready for these subjects, as this is the basic principle of mathematics, to get the readiness of our students, and how their readiness is through enjoying the subjects first. Okay, now, how to enjoy the subjects? When they enjoy the subjects, they are willing to engage with the subjects or with their peers to explore more. Every learner is entitled to enjoy learning mathematics regardless of their background. Just now I said the privileged and the underprivileged students. And give our children the experience using various resources and technology when they learn mathematics in the classroom or at home. Okay, Data Mitra, this word, this sentence. It's not the most important thing to find out. It's more important to me. So what do you think, teachers? So you can debate after this. Okay, next, after they've engaged, they have to explore. They can explore now. Inculcate mathematical thinking as habits of mind, because we know that mathematics is a tool for understanding science, technology, engineering, or we call it as the STEM. Teachers, please ask appropriate questions to the related topics learned. For example, how many squares can be made on a 9-pin geoboard? So let our students explore. So, okay. Here, my top charms. I'm will introduce this digital thinking board to our participants today. This digital thinking actually comes from is actually provides of a thinking board. Okay, so are the things that students need for this digital thinking board? They need a PC, network connectivity, online applications, and of course, support from parents, schools, teachers, and government as well. All parents, teachers, and students must also become IT literate, not computer literate. Okay, IT literate. Then only they can serve their children. So, what are the critical thinking about? Because we just now I'm saying about engage, explore. So how are they going to engage the explore in this pandemic, in the situation of now, the pandemic COVID-19? They are not allowed to go to schools. They are not allowed to have face-to-face interaction with their teachers, with their friends. So this is why I'm trying to innovate the thinking board, become a digital thinking board. Okay, before that, we look at what are thinking board actually? Thinking board is created to solve mathematics word problems. And we also know that solving mathematics word problems has turned into concern among school children. Various methods have been utilized by teachers, of course, to get students in solving mathematics word problems. But that one is using through the face-to-face. They use pencil and papers. And research also shown that 80% of children have already commencing and identifying ideas on their own. Therefore, teachers should make use of students' ability on selecting appropriate skills and understanding in order to solve mathematical problems. And that is why I try to look at the problem statements or the issues on this one. Solving mathematics word problems has become an issue among school children, as I said just now. And the solution is using the digital thinking board. This digital thinking board is actually a very simple think board using the digital platform. The objectives of using this digital thinking board or objectives of creating this digital thinking board is number one, to get active participation to solve maths word problem, because they don't have the opportunity to work face to face. So I tried to create this digital thinking board so that the students can also participate actively in solving the maths word problem. Second, the objective is to learn to identify the keywords in maths word problems, because later you can see how the digital thinking board is used in the mathematics classroom. Okay, so the platform that I use for this digital thinking board is I use only the Google site and the Google Doc. Okay, the Google site is to create as a website, and in this website I only use Google Doc because students can participate actively using the Google Doc because it's all online. Okay, so let's see how to implement this digital thinking board. So actually, digital thinking board or the think board itself has a various parts. So in this this digital thinking board, I use only 5 parts. Actually, you can use 4 to 6 parts, depends on the level of your students. So here, the digital thinking board I use here is 5 parts only, and each part or section has its functionality. Okay, so let's just look at one by one. Number 1, idea generation. So this part. Yeah, this part is for the idea generation. What are these part serve? This part serves as a platform or sites for students to generate ideas of what the question requires. So teachers can create this part using the Google site and link it to the Google Doc. So in this, students can participate with their peers using online platform. Okay, the Google Doc is the online platform, and they can generate ideas among them. They can write straight in the Google Doc, and they can discuss among them online. Okay. Now the second part, discussion to be held. This second part is for discussion among students. After they get all the ideas, they have written all their ideas. In the first part, they can discuss about the idea in the second part. So that means they have a few ideas already. Now they can expand their ideas in the discussion part. Okay, the third part will serve as a platform for students to build their understanding of the questions as a result of the questions. So all these platform or all these parts actually are related to each other. So in this third part, they can discuss based on the second part and also the first part. So they can actively involve here in the discussion. And of course, the fourth part will be the part where the students collect all the ideas, discussions, and their understanding in the first, second, and third part. And they can use symbols, or they can also write mathematical statements based on the first, second, and third part. And lastly, they can use the statement, they can use all these 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, and they can make a conclusion, or sometimes they can also get the answer in the fifth part. So I think my session today is also a little bit faster. Okay, so I hope that with my sharing this now, teachers can have some ideas on how to help their children, help their students to do online classroom. They can also do the 21st century activities by discussing, by collaborating. Everything is online. Okay, and I hope that also this digital thinking board will help students to be actively involved and also actively encourage them to collaborate with their peers to produce a more effective understanding of learning mathematics. And also, before I end my session, I would like also to promote our product. We have the from Simio, we have a few YouTube channels on topics on mathematics and also science. So I really hope that everybody or all the participants here can go to our YouTube channel and watch the YouTube channel on the mathematics and science topics. So with that, I thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas today on the digital thinking board. Hopefully that everybody can use it and also can create more interactive activities, classroom activities, online activities for the benefits of our students in this pandemic situation. Okay, so thank you. I pass back to Mr. Our moderator.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wan, for a wonderful sharing sessions. And I would like to invite our audiences would like to thank you, Dr. Wan. I would like to invite the audiences who would like to ask questions to our third keynote speakers. We have some questions already here. I would like to share my screen with you, Dr. Wan, so I can read it for you more clearly. So the first questions coming from Mr. Hisham again to Dr. Wan Nur. What is the basic difference between digital thinking board, your idea, your proposals, and the problem solving method or approach? What's your opinion?
Okay. Can I answer? Okay. Yeah?
Yes, please.
Okay. So actually the basic of the digital thinking board, the idea is actually comes from the problem solving method, because in the problem solving method, first thing that the children must know the questions, must understand the questions, must find keywords, and then they can create how to implement the answer, and how to use what strategies they should use, and lastly they can get the answers. However, in this digital thinking board, the students can discuss online, can collaborate online with their normally. Sometimes, I don't say all the time, sometimes our children, when we give them the problem, the mathematical problems, questions, they don't discuss with their peers. They just sit at the table, at the chairs, and then they try to answer the questions individually. So in this digital thinking board, they can't run from collaborating from each other. They have to participate. They have to collaborate everything online with their peers. Does that answer my question?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
All right.
Mr. Hishams, I hope it answered your questions. I would like to invite the audiences who would like to ask the questions directly live here to Dr. Wan. So please raise your hands if you are interested to ask questions directly, please. Anybody would like to hello? Hello there. Hello? Who is speaking now? Yes, please.
Bukan 32 jam. Sudah 34 pertemuan kan?
Hello? Okay, sorry. So, Mr. Alejandro Soriano, would you like to ask the questions directly? Mr. Alejandro? Hello, Mr. Alejandro? Wait for a moment. Mr. Alejandro, would you like to ask the questions directly to Dr. Wan? Okay, while we are waiting for Mr. Alejandro, may I ask questions to you, Dr. Wan? So this is a digital thinking board that students and the teachers should use it online. So is it doable to use it by using the smartphone or small devices?
Yes, because after this, actually, I have already done it in the YouTube. So everybody, actually, after this, when I publish this one, so everybody can see this digital thinking board using the handphone or any other devices.
Okay, so it is doable for students who...
I have not, as long as they have Gmail.
Gmail. So the basic requirement is they have to have a Gmail account first.
Yeah, that's right.
Because this utilize the Google's platforms or product, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Because
so
I think has that Gmail account.
so yes, ladies and gentlemen, the audience says, so make sure that you have a Gmail account to implement this digital thinking board. It is really interesting. And another questions, Dr. Wan, what are the challenges that you experience using this in Malaysia?
Okay, actually, as I said just now, for the privileged students, we don't have any challenges because they have all the opportunities, they have all the facilities. But for the underprivileged students, this one, we really hope that government will help these students to get access for the internet facilities and also for the teachers to give them the opportunity to use this internet facility, or else they can't do this, they can't use the digital thinking board, any other online tools if they don't have the internet facilities. That's the challenge right now in Malaysia. So because some parts of Malaysia, they really don't have this to access the internet.
Hello, Dr. Wan?
Yeah.
Okay, the voice is a bit disconnected. And thank you for the answer. So we still have another questions from YouTube, Dr. Wan. May I read it for you? Okay, I'll share my screen first. Yes, we have one questions from YouTube. How could the teacher apply using digital thinking board to student in the calculus subject? So it is specific in the topic. From M. Tyson, I think from the Philippines.
Okay, actually, when you use the Google Doc, they have all the symbols for mathematics. So it is the only thing that teachers must know how to use the symbols using the Google Docs, and also students must be taught how to use that symbols. Teachers, you can try actually to use. You can teach anything in using this digital thinking. Not only for mathematics, you can use it for in other subjects also. We tried before, but for mathematics, you have to know how to use the symbols in the Google Doc, because in the Google Doc, mostly they are using the word. So teachers must know how to do that, and also students must be taught to do that. And if you teach all your students to use the symbol, I think they will be very happy to learn calculus using the digital thinking board. And sometimes I think it must have the tablet as an extra for the online learning. Can you hear me, Sigmi?
Yes, I can hear you clearly, Dr. Wan. So, but do you think that it is possible to draw a graphic or pictures there with the calculus topic?
Okay, well, for that one, you have to use the geometry sketch, or you have to use the algebra, and you can insert it in the platform. We are using the Google Doc.
Okay. So I hope this answer your questions, Mr. Ace M. Tysons. So I would like to call other participants, audiences who like to ask questions to Dr. Wan about digital thinking board. But yes, it is Azan Zuhur here already, Dr. Wan.
Okay.
So I think let us have a moment of silence for a while. Okay, the Azan Zuhur is already ends now. Okay, another questions, Dr. Wan from Zooms, and the question is, please give us some tips if we have limitations to conduct online learning in the distant learning. Is there any free math resources you can share with us?
Resources. Okay, free maths resources. Actually, we have a few. The maths for solving problems. Okay, and then I have a few actually, but I can't remember that at the moment. But maths you can use. Also, you can also use Edmodo to have the online session with students. And in Malaysia, actually, we use Google Classroom for our online activities. We can't go to school, so teachers, most of the teachers, they are using the Google Classroom, also from the Google.
Okay, Google Classrooms.
Yeah, Google Classroom.
Okay, so I think our teachers in Indonesia, in other semi-member countries, I think Google Classrooms is, I think it's easy to use. I think to conduct online or distant learnings, and some maybe give the access for free, like the Minister of Education of Indonesia. So to use Google Classroom is free of charge, no internet charge on there. So thank you, Dr. Wan, for wonderful sharing with us about digital thinking board that our educator, math teachers can utilize it during this pandemics. And thank you very much for your support to our center, Semeo Kitab in Mathematics, Semeo Rixem Little Sisters. Okay, I hope to look forward for another cooperations and research maybe in the futures with Samuel Rexams. And once again, thank you very much for your support to our centers. So
thank you.
Yes, okay. To end this webinar series, I would like to sum up the Dr. Wan sessions about digital thinking board, that we have 5 steps, the idea generations that you can utilize using the Google product like Google Sheets or Google Docs, and after that you can have discussions on there in the platforms, and then after the discussions you can build up the understanding on that discussions, and then you can utilize the symbols, the formulas that has been provided there, and then you will have the final step to get the conclusions from your learning using the scenario of digital thinking board. So that's the end of the sessions for the webinar series, Mathematics for All, Mitigating the Impact of COVID-19 Pandemics. Thank you very much for your participation, dear audiences, and I'll give this back to our master ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Wahid Yunianto, for chairing all the sessions. Okay, once again, thank you very much, Mr. Wahid Yunianto, for chairing all the sessions and deliver the resume of the keynote address. It was such an interactive discussions. And once again, thank you very much also to all speakers, Dr. Wan, Dr. Wulan, and Dr. Smardiono for the enlightening presentations. And we do learn a lot from you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our speakers. Before I close this webinar, I have several announcements for you regarding the e-certificate of participations. Make sure you have filled out the attendance at the link provided in the chat box and YouTube descriptions. Please check your name is correct to be written on the certificate, and the attendance link will be expired today at 2 p.m. Jakarta local time GMT +7. And make sure you have filled out also the evaluation form of this webinar. The link provided in the chat box and YouTube descriptions, and the deadline for filling out the evaluation form is today at 11 p.m. Jakarta local time GMT +7. The certificate is accessible in the specific link that we will announce later in a week ahead, and please be patient. We need to do some process, of course. For easy access or update about the e-certificate, please stay tuned on our social media or our Instagram and also Facebook. Once again, don't forget to follow our social media at Simeo Kidap in Math and also Facebook page at Simeo Kidap in Mathematics. Or you need another assistance or even you want to collaborate with us, reach us on official WhatsApp or line number. Lastly, thank you very much for the participants who are joining the giveaway by capturing their best moment during following this webinar. We do appreciate it, and we will announce the winner soon on Instagram post. So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready for the closing ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the closing ceremony of the International Webinar Mathematics for All, Mitigating the Impact of COVID-19 Pandemic. During the 3 hours, we are here learning together and get updated on the current issues of mathematics in the era of pandemic. And this webinar had participated by more than 300 participants from Southeast Asia and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar wouldn't be possible without the support from the Ministry of Education and Culture of the Republic of Indonesia, Senior Secretariat Bangkok, and don't forget to mention the organizing committee, SIKIM. Before we close the ceremony, we want to say thank you to the outstanding keynote speakers, honorable moderator, responsible committee, and of course, the beloved participants. On behalf of Senior Regional Center for Kitab in Mathematics, I will say thank you